you want to what I do right now.
This morning, I was up at 5 a.m. to begin a grand adventure. Longtime viewers may remember my trip in 2015 to Boston to attend Mysterium, an annual convention for fans of the hit classic CD-ROM game Myst.
Thank you.
This year, it's being held in Spokane, Washington, which is also where the game's creator, Cyan Incorporated, is headquartered. So this year, Mysterium includes a tour of Cyan's offices. After a 3-hour drive, I arrived at the Ruby River Hotel.
Welcome to Spokane.
Parker's been on the vlog before. He's got longer hair now. Here, I'm covering your combination. What is this?
This is a replica of this one gun from Abduction. You don't see it fired or anything, you just see it next to a dead person. With all the stuff that is like Mofang tech, the components don't actually touch each other. They're like just separately floating things, because similar to the projector things that show you the messages.
So these are supposed to be floating apart
floating.
from each other?
So I have that made of connections made of clear acrylic to simulate that.
That's really cool.
And for some con standards, I have this.
Oh yes, of course.
Just a tiny traffic cone jammed in the tip.
What material is this?
MDF that is just painted to look like this. Medium density fiberboard is basically cardboard. I went through a lot of different kinds of chrome-like paint, but the one that ended up working that I could still get a hold of was actually a paint marketed toward graffiti artists.
Huh. I was gonna guess that it was paint for like Warhammer figurines or something.
I don't know much about that one. I'm not very experienced with paint, but all I know is that getting a chrome look is really hard.
What's this little extra bit?
Little stand. It's right there.
Nice. The first event of the con was a presentation by the Starry Expanse project, a fan-driven real-time 3D recreation of Riven, the sequel to Myst.
Good morning, everybody. We are so excited to be here. We're going to talk about not only what we're working on, but why we work on it the way that we do.
The project has been underway for at least a decade, and the ever-evolving team presents their progress every year at Mysterium. This year they revealed VR support, and talked about the difficulties involved in recreating the world from scratch, as Cyan lost the original game assets many years ago.
Camera matching is taking the still images from Riven. So we've got these set locked positions, and so they represent points in 3D space, and we try to triangulate from multiple perspectives to get those points, and then extrapolate from that to get the environment.
One of the problems faced by the team is that, in many instances, certain sound effects, dialogue, and music were rendered together into the original game files, meaning that separating them from each other has been impossible.
That's why I'm here. I got it here.
Marty! You have it
here? As it turned out, one of the attendees who worked on the original game happened to find some of the missing original assets on a hard drive somewhere.
So the problem was that we couldn't split them out. I guess if Marty has the original sounds with the separated tracks, then that, to answer your question, that would be how we do it.
For lunch, a group of us walked together to a local eatery and encountered something terrible along the way.
This company used papyrus as their font. I don't know what they're selling over there, but it's definitely free.
As always, at events like this, the best part is getting to meet new people who, outside of this weird niche interest, would have otherwise never crossed my path. Up next was a Q&A panel with past and present employees of Cyan, including some who came back to Cyan after spending time working elsewhere, who spoke about the trials and tribulations of creating some of the most beloved games of all time.
Design coming up with crazy ideas, like cool ideas, pie-in-the-sky ideas they don't even think are doable, and then coming to us and be like, can you guys do this? And it's really fascinating. One of the initial glimmers of an idea in Abduction was, what if one of the linking seats could be anywhere? What if you link and you take a chunk of terrain with you? And we're immediately like, what if you take half of a puzzle with you or something like that? It was just like, it's interesting how those kind of things play out.
It's for the people who have worked at Cyan and then gone elsewhere. What pieces of Cyan's company culture did other companies take and think, oh, this is awesome?
I can think of a lot of specific examples where we left Cyan and we sort of took certain values or certain things we appreciated with us, and then we saw those things absent at another company and realized how crucially important certain things are. And when we came back, pushed certain things up the priority list, because it's like the absence of this makes for a rougher development cycle, and so let's make sure that we as a company never lose this.
We've now moved on to the part of Mysterium where we do a bunch of puzzles, and you have to solve the maze first.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Excuse me?
Michael,
Get on that, Michael. Get on that.
Don't worry, I'm not doubting you.
So I just spent hours and hours solving this maze, and then if you follow the correct path through the maze, there are these numbers. So we wrote the numbers out, and then if you use an SMS texting phone dealio, it writes out a line from Riven that Gen says, "I apologize for the cage. I am Gen. I assume you've heard of me." Oh boy. The other team members were working on these other puzzles, and for every puzzle that we solved correctly, we get a little puzzle piece.
And none of them connect to each other because we're very unlucky.
And we're supposed to see what it says.
Yeah, we're supposed to translate it.
Are we allowed to go trade with other teams? I don't think they said they couldn't.
Not to.
So it turns out that my team was the best team because we solved all the puzzles before everyone else, and we commemorated our achievement with a group photo. The final event of the evening was the Starry Expanse team giving everyone a preview of what the game currently looks like in VR.
Hey everybody, by the way, this is Jam. Jam is about to have her first VR experience.
Are you putting this on YouTube?
You have control over where this footage goes.
Let's do this.
Okay.
Is it good?
I think so.
So here's the controllers.
Oh, now I can't see any of this.
What do you mean you can't see anything?
I mean, I can't see you guys.
Oh, yes, that's true.
Sorry.
Around. Yeah, take your time, look around.
How are you feeling?
This is so dizzy making.
So yeah, take your time, get acclimated. Yeah. And if you need to do this sitting down, we can pull the chair out for you.
More dizzy making.
These are the secrets we unlock.
It's it would be so easy to forget and just be like, I'm walking down this hallway now and just hit everybody.
As a longtime fan of Riven, it was really cool to see it rendered in not only real-time 3D, but also virtual reality. After the festivities of the day concluded, a group of us went to a local burger joint called Zips.
Order to go, still out.
If you've heard of the Bible Belt and the Tornado Belt, Yukon up into...
I'm going to give that burger 3 stars. It was fine. It wasn't I probably don't ever need to eat there again. The milkshake was also just 3 stars. It's fine. Everything about Zips was fine. First day of MistCon is in the books. MistCon? That's not what it's called. First day of Mysterium is in the books. I can say that I'm enjoying this Mysterium. Oh my god! Shut up. Much more than the Boston one. I don't know what it is. This one feels bigger, more put together, something. It's good. It's good. Tomorrow we're going to be touring the Cyan offices, which is what I'm really excited about.
We all awoke, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, eager to visit Cyan's headquarters. After a quick gathering to go over directions and rules for the day, we were off. Seeing the grounds was a surreal experience. This company and their games have probably had a bigger impact on me than even I can appreciate. One thing that I couldn't get out of my head was how much it reminded me of what I had dreamed of building for cinema studios, had that not crashed and burned the way it did. But rather than it being a bitter thought, it maybe sparked hope that I might again make progress toward that goal. As Atris once said, perhaps the ending has not yet been written.
We're pretty formal here, so I'm going to introduce myself. Hi, I'm Rand. Wow, this is cool. Thank you guys for joining us. I hope you're having a good time. Yeah! How many of you know that today is National Watermelon Day? I'm letting you know it took something really important for me to miss this National Watermelon Day celebrations. And I am totally being serious. You can ask my wife. I'm a watermelon freak. To eat watermelon, I have the watermelon there. I cut an entire round slice. The entire round slice. It has to be the entire circle. I take that slice. I put it on a plate. I cover the entire plate with that round slice. I take a knife and a fork. I sit down comfortably with a napkin because there will be dribble, and I eat the watermelon that way. The plate is in my lap, and I eat it, and it is relaxing and wonderful, and it's like this Zen moment with just me and the watermelon. Anyone else? Who else eats watermelon that way? Yes, there are a few. It feels like it's time to refresh some things. And the first part of that is we want to refresh Myst for kind of a turning the page kind of thing. We have Myst, and we got this Myst and that Myst and real Myst and all that. We need like a definitive version. We can blow your mind, okay? That's what we want to do. We got to get that done. So we're going to do it, okay? That's the first step in this turn the page, yeah. Okay? It's kind of a no-brainer, right? It's time for that. But what that leads to is after you do, the real-time version of end-all, be-all of Myst that, that we can all ride off into the sunset.
And ribbon.
Oh, good idea. Okay. So one of the things that we've been waiting to do, and frankly, just waiting for Starry Expanse guys to just finish it. And then just take it from them. No, we've talked with the Starry Expanse guys, and we want to do Riven next after that, after Myst. And it's all nice calling these things real Myst and real Riven, but honestly, we're turning the page and we're gonna do Myst, redo Myst, and then we're gonna redo Riven in real time. And it's just gonna be called Riven, and it's gonna be amazing. And after kind of refueling Myst and Riven, maybe we want something new in that Myst universe, so. And that ties right in with the Myst episodic series stuff, which we all know every time we talk. It's like, yeah, this time it's gonna do it. This time we're gonna have a TV show. It's probably next year. You'll be turning on Netflix. Boom, there it is. Nothing ever happens. Well, this time it's gonna happen. Probably next year. You turn on Netflix and there it is. Although, I have to say this, we are much more involved this time. We have the idea for where we want the Myst series to go. And then we wrote a pilot. And then we rewrote it, and then we rewrote it, and then we rewrote it. We're really excited about it. The Myst series is going to be very different than what you might expect. We want something that you guys as Myst fans are going to watch it, and you'll see all these cool little things in it. But if you don't know anything about Myst, after the first episode, you're going to be like, I have to watch the second episode. You don't need to know. We have everything we need to tell a great story. And it doesn't have to be in the box of the old stuff. It can reach into areas that are still mysterious from a Myst point of view. This is more about like now. Like what would happen if this is all now? You guys know we love doing now. It's that Uru thing. Like, oh, this doesn't need to be now. So I feel like I could fall on one of these books. Well, that's what intrigues us about the Myst series. And sure, we'll reach back and have some stuff that you guys will cheer at when you see, but it's going to be really interesting and unique. I think you're going to love it. I think you're going to love it. All right, let's see here. First of all, this building only, that one's off limits. There are upstairs and downstairs bathrooms on either side of the hall when you walk in. By the way, I should tell you, there are no... as much as I would love to have set up like a giant puzzle around the place, it's all you can do to kind of just put the thing together. I mean, you know, it's like there's a lot of work. So one of these years, okay, you'll be surprised. But like the number on the fire hydrant really doesn't mean anything right now. Rocks out in the back with the waterfall. There's a cool waterfall out there, but if you climb on the rocks, you'll die. So don't do it.
This is Rawa, one of the programmers on Myst and Riven. He's well known and adored for answering fan questions about the lore of the Myst series. In 2015, he was diagnosed with a brain tumor and underwent brain surgery later that year.
So I wanted to say hi before and thank you all for coming. You guys have always been so supportive of us, and I
We love you,
I really appreciate all of you.
Finally, we entered the Cyan building. It's moderate in size, but in every place you look, it's decorated with memorabilia and architectural allusions to the company's catalog of games. It's clear that the company culture empowers a small, close-knit team to tackle the obstacles that every small company faces, yet achieve things that are generally only within reach of very large companies, all while staying true to the original soul of the company. There's clearly a great level of respect for the company's legacy, and it feels that each project the company takes on these days strives to strike out on its own while honoring the memory of its ancestors. As I said earlier, the impact that Cyan has had on me, as a creative individual, as a storyteller, as a musician, I don't think it can be quantified. The Myst games, soundtracks, and novels entered my life at such a young, formative, important time. It was truly an honor to be welcomed into their halls and to speak both with people who were responsible for the Cyan of my childhood, but also with the people who are now carrying that mantle forward. Later that evening, back at the hotel, there was an open mic event, the highlight of which, for me, was Jam's Myst-inspired slam poetry.
Stone ship. Rain lashes against my shivering form. I did not ask for this. Lightning chars the stormy sky in great white streaks, burning clouds to purple ash, to be scattered on hurricane winds.
After which, we all headed to bed. On the final day of our adventure, the committee thanked everyone for attending, thanked everyone who worked to put the event together, and handed out raffle prizes. Spoiler alert, I won nothing. The rest of the day was open for us to go out and explore Spokane. As the sun set on our final evening together, a group of us went to a local bar to chat and eat deep-fried things. I say this every time I go to an event like this, but it never stops being true. The best part of traveling is meeting new people and making new friends, and when it comes to a niche interest like Myst, it feels awesome to be able to nerd out unabashedly with a group of like-minded people. And I can't wait until we all meet again at the next Mysterium.